foggy night with potential thunderstorms here in the area just up the road in Waco. The Baylor game is delayed because of the storms. Let's bring in the third member of our crew now. Here's Chris Button.
Joe, you talked about the loss of Ash and Espinosa for this Texas team, but the Longhorns are also without the two players who would be starting on offensive tackle. Earlier this week, Charlie Strong suspended Desmond Harrison and Kennedy Estelle, both of those a one-game suspension. But it's a completely different story for BYU. They get back 5 players from suspension, most notably starting cornerback Rob Daniel and starting running back Jamal Williams. Williams, a huge component to this offense in that win last year against Texas. He rushed for 183 yards, so you bet BYU is glad to have him back out on the field today, Joe.
Yeah, Chris, that was part of a school record 550-yard performance on the ground for BYU. It was also a record for yards allowed on the ground by a Texas defense. BYU won the toss. They deferred to the second half, so Texas will receive it. Marco Mendenhall's defense will take the field first. That season as head coach at BYU. Duke Thomas and Marcus Johnson. Back to receive the kick from Andrew Mickelson. Critical early season matchup between a pair of 1-0 teams. And it's Johnson bringing out of the end zone. Marcus Johnson down the sideline. And Texas will begin at the 47.
Joe, if you're a Texas fan, this is exactly how you want to start this ball game. After last year's big loss to BYU in Provo, you need a little energy coming out of the gates here.
There's a flag down at the end of the play.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Receiving team number 31, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Goes on freshman Jason Hall, so that'll negate some of the return. In fact, a significant chunk of it, taking the ball back inside the 20. So we talked about it right off of the top. David Ash is out with the concussion symptoms, and Tyrone Swoops, the sophomore, makes his first career start.
That's right, Joe. I love what Coach Watson said about Tyrone Swoops. He is a blank slate. He gets to teach him everything he knows about playing the quarterback position, and right now his journey starts tonight against BYU.
First drive starts from the 18. The run to Malcolm Brown. He spins off initial contact and can't get away from Bronson Kafusi. Lost a yard. It'll be second down and 11. So Swoops coming in, making his first career start in front of around 100,000 and doing it with 3 offensive linemen that weren't expected to be in this lineup.
That's right. I guarantee you right now, you can't see it, but Tyrone Swoops has got some good butterflies going. I remember my first start, 15 years ago.
Don't age yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It is a fun moment for him right now. I know he's enjoying it.
His first throw goes into the short side. It's John Harris coming off a career night last week. 7 catches for 110 yards. Tell us 3 things we need to know when Texas has the ball.
Well, that's right. Texas is going to be a balanced offense. They're going to throw the ball. They're going to run the ball. Last week, great balance on offense against North Texas. But when they do run it, you're going to rely on Malcolm Brown and Jonathan Gray, 2 fantastic running backs. Either of them could carry the load for any school in all of the NCAA. And when they're going to be tackled, they're going to be a guy named Bronson Kafusi. DN last year, now playing outside linebacker for BYU, a fantastic defender.
On third down and 4, they drop into coverage. Swoops patient with a coverage downfield. And bumped out of bounds shy of the first down marker. Jeremiah Leuta Duyere with a stop. He'll spot him about a yard short, so 4th down and 1. The punt team comes out of the field after some deliberation from Charlie Strong. This BYU defense perennially one of the best in the country with a 3-and-out to start. Sophomore Mitchell Juergens, the Houston area, back to receive this punt from William Russ. Juergens gets pumped right away. Bryson Eccles with a special teams tackle. BYU to start at the 35.
Hey, Joe, just take a listen to this play coming down here. Texas needs energy. They need crowd. They need momentum. They got to build something here in Austin, and they're looking to do it right now.
Taysom Hill in this offense, ready to go to work against the Texas defense and 100,000 here in Austin. High snap pulled down Jamal Williams with his first carry of the season for a yard and a half into the arms of Malcolm Brown at second down. There's Taysom Hill, the 24-year-old junior who ran for 259 yards and 3 touchdowns against Texas last year. Coming off a great opener at UConn. On 2nd and 8, his first throw finds his tight end, Devin Mahina. He gets 6. Jordan Hicks makes his first tackle, and BYU looks at a 3rd and 2.
Joe, what I love about Taysom Hill is most running quarterbacks are jittery in the pocket. They want to get out. They want to use your feet. Keep an eye on Taysom today in the pocket. He's going to step up. He's going to be composed, patient, just like he was on that last throw.
Off with a replay. Here's Hill getting loose. And Taysom Hill stirs up bad memories for Texas from a season ago. First down into Texas territory.
You are going to see a lot of option football from BYU today. Taysom Hill reading the unblocked player on the end, sees him crash down on his running back, pulls it out, and takes it around the corner for a first down. Great read by Taysom Hill.
Play action on first down. Well protected, but then the pocket collapses, and down goes Hill. Steve Edmond, the senior linebacker, got to him, and it's 2nd and long.
Joe, you saw it right there. I mentioned a moment ago, Taysom Hill will step up in the pocket. He's looking to pass more this year. But what Vance Bedford, the defensive coordinator for Texas, told us is we cannot let him step up in the pocket. We have to get a good push up the middle, force him outside. That time they got a sack. Big play for the Texas defense.
Coming off a dominant performance week 1. Another high snap pulled down in a big hole for L.G. Brown, who bounces outside. And Brown's close to a first down and a gain of 16. Michael Thompson with a tackle. Do spot him just short, so 3rd and less than a yard. The 3rd high snap of his first drive disrupted the timing of the play, and Michael Thompson with his 3rd tackle. It's 4th and short.
Joe, it's the little things when you're on the road. That high snap delays the handoff just a moment. And when you're talking about a game of inches, you know what? They're a foot or two short of that first down, and every split second counts. You need to make every play count when you're on the road, especially in a place like Austin.
This one's over his head. Hill, a tremendous athlete, back to get it, will heave it away with a flag down. But right now, the freshman center, Tijon Karoma, who was so good in his debut last week, is struggling.
Illegal formation, offense. 5 men in the backfield. That penalty's declined. First down, Texas.
So if they decline that penalty, the drive comes to an end.
Timeout.
4 high snaps on that drive, and it kept getting higher and higher. This one over Hill's head. Texas takes over in a scoreless game when you come back. Texas punted. BYU with a turnover on downs. 4.5 minutes into this one. Time for our keys to the game, brought to you by Ford. Built Ford tough.
That's right. For BYU, just be yourself and exploit the inexperienced offensive line for Texas. Bronson Kafusi, Alani Fua, Travis Tuiloma. Big, strong, stout defenders. If you're Texas, do your job, trust your teammates, buy into what Charlie Strong is trying to teach you.
Swoops to start this drive from under center. Give to Malcolm Brown into a crowded box, and nowhere to go with Dallin Levitt up from his safety spot to make the tackle.
You know, Joe, if you are a safety in this BYU defense, you've just got to play free. You know your front 7 is going to hold the offensive line for your opponent. That allows you the freedom to come up and make a big play in the backfield like Dallin Levitt does here right now.
Guards bounce back and forth between safety and corner. over his first couple of years at BYU. They say he's got the mentality of a linebacker, though. Second down and long. Quick throw is complete. That's John Harris again with his second reception, setting up a third down and manageable with a tackle from Zach Stout.
And Joe, I love what Sean Watson has done with Tyrone Swoops so far, giving him a quick out in the first drive to the sideline, giving him a little play action pop pass over the middle right now, getting him some confidence.
In the spring game, he really struggled over the first couple of drives. David Ash was out during that spring game, so he was one of the featured quarterbacks. But after he settled in with that quick passing game, was pretty sharp over the final few quarters. On 3rd and 3, a quick drop, and he's got Shipley for a first down to the 45. And Shipley now within 20 yards of 2,000 for his Texas career.
If I'm Tyrone Swoops, I am looking for Jackson Shipley every time I'm throwing the football. This guy is just a rock. He's a guy you need to lean on out there for the Texas wide receivers.
From the 46, pressure from the near side. A zone replay where he pulls right into the defender, Graham Rowley, with a flag down in the snap.
Offside. Defense, number 92, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Yeah, BYU is the most penalized team in America week 1. 15 penalties for 150 yards in the convincing win at UConn.
And Joe, we're starting to see a little bit of tempo now out of this Texas offense.
They move the pocket for Swoops. Right on the money to John Harris. And Swoops has started perfect. First down into BYU territory.
Joe, I love what they have done with Tyrone Swoops so far. A quick out to start the game, a quick play action over the middle. Next time he throws the ball, they move the pocket. Get him comfortable. If Tyrone Swoops is comfortable, this offense will roll.
Here's Brown with a nice cut and a solid gain of 7.
And that's what it does right there, Joe. When you can throw the ball effectively, a defense has to honor both the run and the pass. They can't just key in and put 8, 9 guys in the box to stop these running backs of Malcolm Brown and Jonathan Gray.
Longhorns quickly back on the ball for a second down play. Swoops has started 5 for 5. This is Marcus Johnson and another Texas first down. Lonnie Four hustling off of the field. Did he get off? Looks like he just did. Brown gets the hole plugged by Zach Stout. Tied for the team lead with 10 tackles last week in his first game in 2 seasons after sitting out last year for personal reasons. Taking charge on second down. Well protected by that inexperienced offensive line. Swoops around the corner inside the 20. He's a talented runner in high school. 5,300 rushing yards in his high school career.
You know, I liked his patience here. He sat, he waited, and then he decided to take off. And like you said, this guy can run 243 pounds, but he can still take the edge.
In one game in high school, he ran for 560 in one game. Another quick throw. It's on the money, but a flag comes in with the ball popping out. Dallin Levitt in coverage. Mike Duffy to let us know.
Personal foul. Chop block. Offense, number 50. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay first down.
That's Jake Rollerson making his first career start at center, and for Dom Espinosa. Started 40 games in a row.
Take a look right here, guys. Riley right there, excuse me. Rollerson right there in the middle. When the offensive lineman is engaged with a defender up, you cannot go low on him. Right there, Taylor Doyle had his D lineman engaged up by the shoulder pads. Rollerson went low. 15-yard penalty.
You go from 3rd and short to 3rd and 18. And 10 men standing for BYU, giving the sophomore Swoops a tough look. Lonnie Fool will drag him down after a couple of yards. 4th down and long will bring the field goal team out at the 26 for a 43-yard attempt.
Joe, I like the call. 3rd and long. Don't put it in the hands of your sophomore quarterback. Run the draw, set up your field goal team. You've got a defense that's been playing well so far. Let's get points on the board.
Here's Nick Rose, the former walk-on, in his first year as the field goal man. Went 1 for 2 last week, and he starts this week 0 for 1. Special teams a question for both teams. And a miss from 43 keeps it scoreless. Taysom Hill takes the field once again. You come back to Austin. Fox Sports 1 College Football is presented by the Cree LED Bowl. Back here in Austin. And scoreless partway through this first quarter in a critical early season matchup between a couple of 1-0 teams. Texas coming off an encouraging drive with Swoops in his first start. They've gone to a new center for BYU. Edward Fusi, the senior, replaces the freshman Tijan Karoma, who had 4 high snaps on that first drive. A first down throw. It's Mitch Matthews, the 6'6 junior out of Beaverton, Oregon. Pushed out of bounds by Duke Thomas. 2nd and 2. There is Tijan Karoma, who the coaches raved about getting the start last week, but seemed to be rattled on that first possession. Off-play action. Tried to get the backers to bite, but they wouldn't. And then it opened up for the speed of Taysom Hill. There's a flag down behind the play as Hill wraps into the end zone for a touchdown. It's a 66-yarder, but is it coming back?
Holding. Offense. Number 9. 10-yard penalty for spinal foul.
It goes on Jordan Leslie. Last week talking to Bronco Mendenhall about those 15 penalties for 150 yards. His thought on it was, I'd rather have it that way than not being aggressive enough. But this one here kills it.
That's right. When you're on the road, you cannot afford to make penalties like that. We saw, I was trying to find it there. The area where the flag was thrown was back by the offensive lineman. I'm not sure where that call came from.
Was enough for a first down even with the penalty. And now LG Brown out of the backfield with a good start to this game. 9 yards. Michael Thompson with another tackle, and it's 2nd down and 1. Texas defense last week held North Texas to 94 yards. Longest play they allowed in that game was 8 yards. Picked off 4 passes. Only points came via the North Texas defense. Here's Williams with a first down and more. And Williams with a stiff arm to power his way down to the 15. 32 yards for the junior from Fontana, California, who was suspended last week.
I'll tell you what, as a quarterback, a good running back is your best friend. You know you can lean on him. Jamal Williams missing from the lineup last week for BYU with a fantastic run off left tackle right there. Those are the kind of plays that take the air out of the Texas defense. And right now, when you're trying to build that trust, when you're trying to build that accountability, those plays absolutely are demoralizing.
Off-play action on first down. Hill lob into the end zone for Matthews, who got tugged down by Thompson. And it's first down and goal. 6'6" on the edge, working against 5'11" and 6'2". With a double move, the only chance Thompson had was to grab a hold and go for a ride.
And Joe, I think you're going to see that a lot today. Big, tall wide receivers for BYU. Taysom Hill is going to throw the ball up to him against these shorter corners.
Defense against an eligible receiver. Half the distance to the goal, automatic, first down.
Watch right here, Joe, just the double move. Duke Thomas coming on the corner blitz. As Michael Thompson coming in, a little posting up. out of position coming from his safety spot, just had to grab a hold of him and saw the penalty.
First down and goal. Williams fumbles the ball. Did he get back on top of it? Looks like he did inside the 10. BYU had a pair of fumbles last week. Williams, over the course of his career, 383 carries, has never lost a fumble. Second and goal. Looking short side, wants the size advantage, but doesn't give Matthews a chance. Working against Duke Thomas. He's got 7 inches on Thomas, but it's third down.
And Joe, in order to stop the run, Texas put 8 defenders up by the line of scrimmage, leaving Duke Thomas in one-on-one coverage against the taller Matthews. Here they go again. One-on-one, all on your wide receivers and DBs.
Hill eludes the rush. It's fourth down and goal. Steve Edmond did a nice job to make an open field tackle. So fourth down and goal from the 3. And Bronco Mendenhall sending the field goal team out.
And Joe, remember what Vance Bedford, D coordinator for Texas, told us? He said, we force running quarterbacks to throw the ball. And the way we do that is by telling our DBs, you're on your own. You're on an island. You got your guy to cover, lock him down, because I'm going to try and stop this quarterback from running. And that's what they did right there.
Trevor Sampson missed from 33 yards last week. Tries this one from 21. And pushes it through to get BYU on the board first. So Trevor Sampson in his second and final season at BYU gets his first made field goal of the season. Fox Sports 1 College Football is presented by the Cree LED Bowl. Taysom Hill navigates BYU down the field at a 20-yard drive or 20-yard run on that drive. Jamal Williams had a 31-yard drive. They capped it off with a 21-yard field goal. Trevor Sampson to start the scoring. Sampson had handled the kickoff duties at UConn last week, but struggled. Andrew Nicholson taking over that spot this week. Comes Marcus Johnson. Had a solid return in the first one. And brings this one out to the 23. There are flags down back around where the ball was kicked.
Offside. Kicking team, number 12. 5-yard penalty, re-kick.
Kai Nakua called for the offsides. And they'll kick it again. So chooses Charlie Strong. It was changed the culture of this program. It was at least attempted to in a short time on campus. Taken over the job this offseason. After taking Louisville to great spots over his time there. He's dismissed 8 players from the program. There's another 4 suspended currently. Other things too that you don't know about unless you dive a little bit deeper, like taking the horns off of the helmet during camp, making players, instead of ride air-conditioned buses the half-mile to practice, they now walk that distance. He's proven that it's going to be his way or go somewhere else.
Well, yeah, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. I mean, when you come into a place like Texas, a place with the tradition, the national championships, you need to make your stamp and tell everybody, you know what, this is my team and this is the way we're going to do things. And I don't disagree with what Coach Charlie Strong has done so far.
Nicholson will do it again. So will Johnson. Mentioning the move from the 10. Nice job of kickoff coverage by BYU. Sione Takitaki with a stop. And Texas will have the ball at the 25 on the other side of the break in what is shaping up to be a good one. The Cougars got Joey Harrington-like athleticism backflipping off of that. David Ash played the full game against North Texas last weekend. It wasn't until later that night that he called the coaching staff and said that he was experiencing concussion-like symptoms. So he's out indefinitely. The initial concussion to start this problem was against BYU in Provo last year. With Ash being out, the reason that Tyrone Swoops is making his first career start. He was pretty darn efficient on the last drive, taking Texas 53 yards, looking at a field goal attempt, but a penalty made that drive more difficult.
Well, yeah, I love what Sean Watson did with Tyrone Swoops there. Gave him quick, easy reads, quick, easy throws to get himself in a rhythm. From there, the offense can just develop. When you can throw the ball, you can run the ball. And that's what Texas needs to do.
How about a first down pass play with Swoops on the move. And once again, it's John Harris for a first down. 6 of 6 to begin for Swoops. This one for 13.
And again, getting them outside of the pocket. When you run the football well, you can play action, a hard play action away. Swoops keeps it around the backside, finds the receiver wide open there on the sideline. A great play call. Great play call. I like it by Sean Watson.
Charlie Strong and Sean Watson both said they've hammered it into him this week. They don't need him to be great. They just need him to manage it. So far, he's been pretty great. 6 of 6. On first down, a bubble screen into the hands of John Harris, who makes a move on Jordan Johnson and runs for a first down to the 49. Let's check in with Chris Button.
Joe, in between series, Tyrone Swoops trying to remain very calm, just sitting on the bench with his headset on, not talking to many of his teammates, including David Ash, who's down here. Ash really letting Swoops do his thing, not giving him advice, not bothering him in between series.
All right, Chris, what would you want if you were Swoops making this first career start? You got a guy who you know is the starter, just happens to be hurt.
You know, I want exactly that. I want space to start. Let me settle into my game, and then once we get later on and I have some questions, then you rely on Ash's experience. But right now, you need to get into your own rhythm.
Jonathan Gray on first down, run down by Logan Taele. It'll be second down and 10. Fantastic prep career for Swoops. He's an Army All-American, one of the nation's top quarterback recruits, coming out of tiny Whitewright, Texas, northeast of Dallas. He had 5,300 rushing yards, 73 rushing touchdowns over the course of his career. Diamond behind him on second down. It's Gray again to the scene, and it's third down and 3.
Joe, you've seen Texas run the ball for chunks, 6 yards a pop, 7 yards a pop here. That's set up because Tyrone Swoops has thrown the ball so well to start this ball game. The pass game, the run game, they play off of each other. BYU knows that Texas is going to want to run the football. You got 2 potential All-Americans behind Swoops. They're going to want to give him the ball. Tyrone has done a good job of throwing the ball to set up the run so far this game.
6 blockers and 6 in the box, but BYU still fights through that depleted offensive line that comes into the game with 5 combined career starts. Saye Tautu with the tackle. Lost a yard, 4th down and 4, and it forces a punt. So once again, some momentum on the drive, but nothing to show for it for Texas. And Mitchell Juergens back to receive this punt from William Russ. A fair catch taken at the 11. Coming up next, college football continues as the Texas Tech Red Raiders square off against UTEP. Coverage continuing right here on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Texas Tech got all they could handle week 1 against Central Arkansas. And now take on UTEP.
Cliff Kingsbury looking to build on the success they had last year, his first season down there at Tech. The old Red Raiders quarterback back in his comfort zone.
On first down, it's Hill getting bottled up and fighting back to the line of scrimmage, but that's all. Dylan Haynes up to make the stop with Caleb Blewett. It's 2nd and 10.
That's the right read by Taysom Hill. Blewett crashes down a little bit on the run, but just made a great play in recovering.
Hill extending the play. Keeps his eyes downfield and throws it at a bounds. It's 3rd down. Steve Edmond applies the pressure on Hill.
That's the end of the
Some
first
solid
quarter.
offense in that first quarter, but not much to show for it. 3-0 BYU after 15 minutes in Austin. One of college football's great programs. So much history here in Austin. Charlie Strong trying to get the Longhorns back on track. First at a national championship under Mac Brown back in 2005. Strong taking over this season. Off to a 1-0 start, facing his first true test against Robert and I in that high-powered offense for BYU. And to begin this second quarter, it's a 3rd down and 10 for the Cougars. Hill under pressure and sacked back at the 1. Malcolm Brown and Cedric Reed combine, and it's 4th down.
Joe, we mentioned it earlier. Vance Bedford said they are going to get pressure up the middle. They're going to push the pocket back and not let Taysom Hill step up and look downfield. That's exactly what happened. Look at Malcolm Brown just drive his man back. Fantastic play by the Texas defense. Look, this defense has talented football players, and their play on the field last year was not indicative of the type of skill they have on defense.
Hassan Ridgeway in there as well, and Texas set to get good field position. Line drive of a punt that bounces by Shipley and out of bounds at the 47. So a heck of a punt there by Scott Orlano out of his own end zone of 50 yards. Texas to begin the drive at the 47-yard line under first-year head coach Charlie Strong. Well, he's got to fill quite a long line of coaches here he's got to follow with DKR, whose name is on this stadium. Fred Akers, 10 seasons at the helm, had those 86 wins, won a couple of conference titles. And of course Mac Brown, who's second all-time in wins at Texas, had 13 9-win seasons, 5 top 5 finishes. It was 18 and 17 in Big 12 play over the last 4 years. And Charlie Strong taking over for this 2014 season. Here's Shipley making a man miss for 3 yards. Continuing to keep swoops in rhythm with those quick throws. He started 8 for 8 for 75 yards through the air. Back-to-back throws to start this drive, and a confident one to the sticks. And no signal yet. Now they give it. It's a catch for John Harris and a Texas 1st down.
Boy, you hit it right on the head there, Joe. A confident throw by Tyrone Swoops. On the run, just drills the ball into his receiver's gut. That's the only place he can put it. He had defenders inside and out, and finds John Harris right there in the zone. Really nice ball, putting it where only his receiver can get it.
That's catch number 5 to go for a 1st down for John Harris.
The ruling on the field is a completed catch. The previous play is under further review.
And they're going to take another look at this. Yeah, that's going to get overturned.
Ooh. You know, Joe, I don't fault Tyrone Swoops for throwing a low ball there.
Yeah.
You see it on replay here. It looks a little bit like he had more time, but he had a defender right on him. Did John Harris, and he needs to make that catch. Sometimes as a quarterback, you have to throw the ball low. Protect your wide receiver.
Harris dropped his first 2 targets last week, then caught the next 7 on his way to a career night. And you got to figure that's indisputable video evidence. Bronco Mendenhall is certain of it. But Bronco, nothing you do right there is going to change what they see on video replays. Intense guy, Bronco Mendenhall. He trails only Lavelle Edwards for wins at BYU. Really a great football mind, great defensive mind.
And has really led the turnaround of this BYU program. And Coach Mendenhall going on 10 seasons at BYU. has really taken a program that had great history. Ty Detmer, Steve Young, Jim McMahon, have a rich tradition of football history. They'd kind of taken a dip for a while, and Coach Bronco Mendenhall has come in and really established BYU as a force in college football. I mean, reestablished. Yeah. Exactly. I think the fact that they're an independent team, they're not affiliated with the conference right now, takes them out of the day-to-day discussion. It takes them out of people's, you don't see them very often, and so they kind of fall back. But this is a solid defense. Taysom Hill's one of the best players in college football right now, and Bronco Mendenhall deserves a lot of the credit for reinvigorating a program that had really fallen away for a while.
After further review, the pass is incomplete. 3rd down and 7 at the 49.5-yard line. Reset the game clock to 13:36. 13:36. The clock will start on the snap.
And it will be a 3rd down and long for Texas. This has kind of been the theme. Longhorns have had a little bit of success on drives, but unable to capitalize. BYU defense trying to get off the field again on 3rd down. Got to get those chains set first. Right now they seem to be confused about where they should be set at. So they finally get these chains set.
We're going to verify the hash mark with replay.
So they'll have to verify the hash mark. And yeah, the bubble screen started the drive coming over here, so exactly. They will spot the ball in the near hash. All that took was a glance over to the sideline, and the answer was relayed into the head official, Mike Duffy. So 3rd down and 8, 3rd down and 7 for Texas at midfield. And a false start. Right tackle Kent Perkins.
False start. Offense. Number 76. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
And Joe, I like what Tyrone did there, using the hard count to try and drop BYU off sides. 3rd and 7. You'd give yourself a 3rd and 2 if you got the penalty. Instead, you jumped off sides. Or a false start, excuse me, rather, right tackle. But now, don't be surprised to see Texas run a draw. 3rd and 12, 3rd and 13. Don't put it on the back of your young quarterback right now.
BYU shows pressure, then brings 4. Swoop steps into his throw for Harris, who's tackled by Daniel to rip the ball out, and BYU's got it. What an individual effort by Rob Daniel, who missed the opener because of suspension. And a guy drawing NFL interest ripped the ball out from Harris. BYU takes over at the 49.
The ruling on the field is a fumble and a recovery by the defense. 1st down, timeout.
Well, you know what? Coach Watson says the way that Tyrone's been throwing the ball so far, I have no problem giving him the reins on 3rd and 12. And he throws a great ball outside to John Harris. But what a play by Daniel there to get the ball out. And that's one thing that the Texas coaches told us about the BYU defense is everything you watch, you see BYU swarming to the ball. That's exactly what they did right there to recover that fumble.
Fox Sports 1 College Football is presented by the Cree LED Bulb. There's Bevo. 3-0 game here in Austin. Hoping that this defense can get the ball back to the offense after the takeaway for the BYU D. A season ago, when they set that school record with 550 rushing yards, they averaged 7.5 a pop. They ran it more than 70 times in that game. And good success on the ground so far tonight.
Well, yeah, a lot of that yards per carry has come on a few big chunks. But the Texas defense has done a good job getting stout and keeping BYU out of the end zone, forcing them to kick a field goal.
Hill pulls it, has Juergens down the side and floats one to the sideline, knocked away by Diggs. And it's 2nd down. So many options on that one play.
Watch this here, Joe. You're going to see 1, 2, 3, all the Texas defenders doing their job on the option here. Michael Thompson comes over with the motion. Everybody sticks with their man. Nobody tries to do too much, and what they do is force BYU into an incomplete pass. That's what they did not do last year.
Hill under pressure. Somehow gets away from Davis. And now Taysom Hill turns the corner and gets to the 41.
Wow.
Adrian Colbert with a tackle after somehow he'll get 7 or 8, sets up a 3rd and short.
To be able to take your team from 3rd and 14 to 3rd and 3, what an athletic play by Taysom Hill. There are very few guys in college football who could get out of that jam in the backfield and turn it into a big game.
Hill well protected this time. Hits the crosser. It was Juergens, but he was unable to hang on, and it's 4th down. You consider going for it in this range?
I don't think so. Me personally, no. The way the game has gone, I'd probably try and pin him down deep, but you know what? That's why I'm up here in the booth and not down on the sideline.
They will go. Fake the Juergens. It's Hill putting his shoulder down. And it looks like they've spotted him with enough. Boy, he was contacted shy of the 1st down marker. But fought his way forward for a BYU 1st down.
You saw Taysom Hill put his shoulder down. 230 pounds. You saw 2 plays ago. I mean, the speed, the elusiveness to get out of the jam in the backfield. Now he just drops his shoulder and runs through the Texas defenders. Taysom Hill can throw it. He can run it. He can run it outside. He can run it inside. This guy's got all the tools.
Texas D coordinator Vance Bedford told us, reminded him of Tim Tebow, just a faster version. So they go to Algie Brown on 1st down. Desmond Jackson makes a tackle.
What's a fair comparison?
Yeah.
Just because Taysom Hill plays at BYU, and that's the reason you haven't heard of him. I mean, you can put him in the same category in terms of percentage of his offense, in terms of how much he means to his offense. Guys like Steve Young, Vince Young, Tim Tebow, Cam Newton. This guy means everything to BYU.
Brown never could get going. Dropped at the line of scrimmage. Desmond Jackson, 4-year contributor, a defensive tackle. And it's 3rd down. Hill into a tight window for Algie Brown. And the running back shows good hands to get a 1st down to the 27.
What patience and pocket presence from Taysom Hill. We talked about it earlier. This kid's not just a runner, sits in the pocket, starts on the front side with receivers, and then has the presence of mind to come all the way back across to Brown, who is crossing the field. Great patience, great delivery, fantastic play by Taysom Hill.
Here's Williams, popped by Hicks in the hole. There's a flag down.
Williams on the carry.
Holding. Offense. Number 55. 10-yard penalty. Replay 1st down.
Time now for the Lowe's Never Stop Improving Game Break.
All right, thanks, Joe. Let's check in Waco. Number 10, Baylor hosting Northwestern State. And Bryce Petty out with a back injury, so in steps Seth Russell, finds Katie Cannon. 81-yard score. Russell already over 200 yards passing. Baylor leads at 21-0, guys.
All right. There's Mitch Matthews. They go to on the screen, gets a yard. It'll be 2nd down and long. We were up in Waco last week, and they like that Seth Russell, who steps into the starting spot with Bryce Petty out.
Young man can spin it. Bryce Petty, obviously an All-American and the leader of that Baylor team, but while he's out, Baylor's in pretty good hands.
So that penalty moved BYU behind the sticks. 2nd and 19. Hill's first read covered. Takes his eyes down. Can't get away this time. Jordan Hicks cleans it up. It's 3rd and long. Draw play for Williams. Got away from Davis, but can't get away from Hicks. And the senior glue of this unit is playing inspired football in this first half.
How about Malcolm Brown there, getting the penetration right up the middle. Misses the play initially, but turns around and makes the tackle. This front four for Texas is doing a great job, not only getting up the field, but keeping contained on the BYU backfield.
Shipley back to receive this punt. Scott Arlano. Shifted the field with a punt of 50 yards his last time out of his own end zone. This one short. Fielded by Shipley at the 17. But Jordan Hicks, what a tremendous series for him. A guy hoping to stay healthy for the first time in 3 years. It's 3-0. (3-0) BYU with a first quarter field goal and a defensive battle so far. Welcome those of you joining us that were watching the Baylor Northwestern State game down here to Austin. And an important early season game between a pair of 1-0 teams. BYU trying to make a statement with a second straight win against Texas. Romped them 40-21 in Provo last year. And Texas facing its first true test under Charlie Strong. Tyrone Swoops making his first career start. Hands it off to the patient Brown, who puts it on the turf. It pops loose, and it looks like BYU's got it again. It's Rob Daniel with his second fumble recovery of this quarter.
Ruling on the field is a fumble recovery by the defense. First down.
Joe, when you have a young quarterback, you cannot afford to make these kind of mistakes. Texas's defense has already done a good job once of fighting off a fumble recovery. This time Jonathan Gray just gets it stripped out here. You have to avoid the turnovers. You have to avoid the penalties when you have a young quarterback leading your team, and you cannot give a guy like Taysom Hill a short field to work with.
Well, they fumbled it 4 times last week against North Texas, lost 2 of them. They've already lost 2 of them against BYU. Who has a first down at the 23. Here's Williams into the teeth of the defense for a yard. Malcolm Brown there for the tackle. Jamal Williams, more than 2,000 yards in his first 2 seasons at BYU. Missed the opener for the rules violation. One of 5 players that did in return this week. 2nd and 9. Hill's well protected. Throws the wheel to Williams. Spot on. First down.
What placement of the football by Taysom Hill there. Shiro Davis peeling out on the running back. You'll see him from his defensive end position. And Taysom Hill just drops it over the top. Great recognition of a mismatch and great delivery of the football.
First down and goal. Williams stuffed, and it's 2nd and goal. Steve Edmond there from his linebacker spot, along with Shiro Davis. This Texas defense was so good last week, but so bad against BYU last year. Held them to just a field goal in this first half. On 2nd and goal, here's Hill with a cutback down to the 6. So BYU looking at a 3rd down and goal now against his defense that didn't give up a play longer than 8 yards against North Texas. Granted, it was North Texas, but a statement game from this D.
Well, yeah, this defense has a lot to prove after last year. Coach Charlie Strong has brought in a new mentality for this talented group. And right here, this defense needs to come up big for Texas.
Hill looking into the end zone. Davis gets to him, and it's 4th down. Shiro Davis with his first sack of the season. Once again, this Texas defense able to force a field goal attempt.
And you know, Shiro Davis may get the credit for the sack here, but this is what you call a coverage sack. Watch Taysom Hill, eyes down the field, looking. Fantastic coverage by the Texas secondary, forcing Taysom Hill to hold on to the ball longer than he wanted to. Pass rush gets in, sacked by Texas.
29-yard attempt from Trevor Sampson. who's accounted for all of the scoring in this game. It's 6-0 BYU in a defensive battle. This is Fox Sports 1 College Football presented by the Cree LED Bulb. And we'll be right back to Austin after this.
Coming up on the AT&T at the half, some bizarre moments in the USC at Stanford game. You'll see them next. Plus, Nebraska, McNeese State should be a blowout, right? We'll see the sights next at the break.
All right, Rob, and I'm sure we'll hear plenty about the game over on Fox, Oregon and Michigan State. You know, the Spartans have won 7 of their last 11 against the AP top 5. That is just remarkable to me. 7 of their last 11 against top 5.
And because of the, I guess, the perceived weakness of the Big Ten right now, you just don't hear about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm shocked to hear that.
A couple of BYU field goals accounting for the scoring in this one. From 21 and from 29. Here comes Johnson. Able to stay on his feet and slip through another tackle. Marcus Johnson, tough running to the 36. 32-yard return. We check in with Chris Button.
Joe, BYU linebacker Bronson Kofusi has been sidelined with what they're saying is a right ankle injury. He's on the table with ice wrapped around that right ankle, and he's missed the last 3 series. We'll have an update for you when we get one.
All right, Chris, and that is one of the top players on this defense.
Yeah, big loss if Bronson Kofusi is done for the day. A defensive end last year, they moved him to outside linebacker, and he has absolutely flourished. This Bronco Mendenhall defense is designed to highlight outside linebackers. It's a 3-4. You give them the versatility to rush, to drop. At 6'7", Bronson would be a big loss not having him in the game.
Texas begins this drive from the 36, and they keep Swoops in rhythm to his tight end, Jeff Swain. And Tyrone Swoops, who came into the game 5 for 13 in his young Texas career, has started 10 of 11.
Hey, and I'm impressed. I got to admit, Tyrone Swoops has come out and thrown the football as if he's a veteran quarterback out there.
Here's Brown on second down. Got stuffed right at the line of scrimmage. Looked like there'd be a cutback lane, but then Marcus Johnson, who was suspended for the opener last week, senior out of Los Angeles, pulled him down and set up a 3rd and short. Now the defensive battle. 129 yards of offense for BYU, just 115 for Texas, which has twice put it on the ground to stunt drives. Bring the fullback Cruciani into the game. Cruciani leads for Brown. He slips his way close to a 1st down, and it looks like he's got enough. Greg Bills with a stop from his safety spot. And it is enough to extend this drive. Pressure on 1st down. It's Brown again, gets 3. Noah Pikula makes a tackle, 2nd down and 7. And Texas has continued with this tempo offense. They say that Swoops is just more comfortable with that.
Well, yeah, and the hurry-up tempo on offense forces the BYU defense to, you know, just kind of vanilla their looks. It prevents them from shifting. It prevents them from trying to confuse Swoops, and it's actually advantageous to Texas.
That one's over the head of Swain, one of the first shots we've seen him take downfield. Got hit as he let it go, 3rd down.
You know, going back to that point, Joe, you'd think with a young quarterback in Swoops that you'd want to slow things down if you're the Texas offense, but oftentimes it's just the opposite. If you can get some tempo going, you force BYU to show their hand early. You allow Tyrone Swoops to get a look at the defense and make a decision. Say, okay, here's where I want to go. And it's because of that tempo that BYU can't substitute, they can't sugar their coverages, they can't disguise their pressures, and it gives a much more clean look for the quarterback.
Bring 5 on 3rd down, and Swoops dumps it off for Brown. They might have had something, had that ball bent on Malcolm Brown. Instead, it's 4th down. Teu Kautai got there first to Swoops to force him to throw off that back foot. The punt team comes out.
And that's really the first ball we've seen miss, or we've seen Swoops miss today.
Yeah. at least throw that you would expect him to make.
Absolutely.
William Russ. Good high punt. Juergens with a fair catch at the 7. 44-yard punt for Russ. And BYU with a 6-0 lead will be back on offense from its own 7 into the closed end of the stadium when we come back. Capital of Texas and the live music capital of the world. That's Capitol Building, which is 7 feet taller than our nation's capital. Fox Sports Supports proud to team up with Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Boys and Girls Clubs help young people to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens through education programs and more. For more information, visit foxsportssupports.com. BYU starts this drive with a Taysom Hill draw. Such good quickness to hop his way for close to a first down.
Well, yeah, and if you're BYU, that's what you need to do, is you need to establish Taysom Hill running the football. He's already run for 57 yards in this game, but has not thrown the ball extremely well. You need to run the ball to establish, to open up those passing lanes for Taysom Hill later in the game.
A 4-man rush, and he's got time to hit the UTEP transfer Jordan Leslie, making a bit of a homecoming tonight. He's a Houston native originally. He was able to transfer immediately after completing his degree at UTEP. How about those cards there?
That's Lizard Paw, right?
Right.
You know what
they
that
got to go
means.
to Lizard Paw.
Lizard Paw, yep.
Adam Hine with his first carry. Steve Edmonds there to greet him after 2. Back into the game at center, by the way, for BYU is Tijan Karoma, who had those 4 high snaps on the first drive, including the one that sailed over Taysom Hill's head on 4th and short.
Well, I like the fact that Coach put him back in the ball game. Coach Mendenhall told us how impressed they were with the coaching staff was with Karoma. It's good to see him back in this ball game.
On 2nd down, Hill gets rid of it. Strong arm to Leslie. And a first down to the 36. Desmond Jackson applied the pressure, but Hill stepped into his throw and showed off a strong arm.
Boy, watch Taysom Hill sit in the pocket. He knows he's going to take a shot. Waits for his receiver to come open and delivers a strike outside, even though Desmond Jackson puts his face mask right in his jaw. Great job by Taysom Hill.
Hill scans the field, dumps it over the middle. 3rd consecutive catch, Jordan Leslie, and a first down to the 48. Michael Thompson, Dylan Haynes combining the stop.
And look, I'm going to come back to this point all day. Taysom Hill is not just a runner. This guy has a feel for the pocket. He sits and waits for his receiver out on the sideline. He doesn't come open, so he comes back across the middle to Leslie. Great patience, great read by Taysom Hill, sitting in the pocket and delivering the ball.
Because BYU subbed, the officials allow Texas to do the same, and BYU unable to snap it. On first down, steps into pressure again, hits LG Brown out of the backfield, who fights his way through a pair of arm tackles for a dozen. First down to the 40. And that is shadows of last year in Provo.
Well, yeah, just getting chunked, and it was all set up by Taysom's ability to run the football. When you have to commit that many guys to the line of scrimmage to stop the run, it allows the BYU wide receivers to have space to run down the field.
Here's Williams. Runs low for a pair of yards. Malcolm Brown with the tackle. And 2nd down and 8. 19-year-old junior is Jamal Williams. He skipped 2nd grade and has always been one of the younger guys in his grade because of it. On 2nd down, all kinds of time for Hill, who zips one for Terran Houck. His first catch of the night gives BYU another first down.
Again, Joe, patience. Taysom Hill looks very comfortable in the pocket on this drive. Watch the receivers down here at the bottom. A little exchange route, leaving man coverage on the outside, and Terran Houck just runs a nice in-cut.
Texas takes their first time out of the half. 30 seconds in duration.
Joe, you see so many running quarterbacks. the moment they have to sit, the moment their first read isn't there, they bail. They go because they know that their legs will get them the first down or at least take away a negative play. Instead, Taysom Hill does a nice job of sitting in the pocket and waiting for his routes to develop. That's the sign of not just a runner, but a good quarterback.
He's completed all 5 throws on this drive. Coming up when this half finishes, it's the AT&T halftime back in LA on a full day of college football to get you up to date on, including that big one in Eugene between Michigan State and Oregon. Taysom Hill, who worked so much in the offseason on improving himself as a passer. We talked to Robert and I, though, the offensive coordinator. He says as much of his improvement as a passer, his credit deserves to go to him for the work he put in. A lot is how the offensive line has improved, how they've gotten deeper at wide receiver, and how they've settled into this up-tempo spread offense in the second year in the system. Inside of 2 minutes in the first half, and a 1st and 10 at the 24. Texas brings pressure. It's picked up, giving Hill time to take a shot into coverage. It's Diggs with the interception. He said he's never been more embarrassed than after that loss in Provo last year.
And Joe,
on the field is an interception, touchback, first down, Texas.
Joe, Taysom Hill had Taron Houck at 6'5" running against Quandre Diggs at 5'10". In that situation, you got to almost underthrow the ball. Allow your wide receiver to go up and use his height. That time, he threw the ball as if Taron Houck was going to run by Quandre Diggs, which, frankly, you're not going to run by Quandre Diggs. Great coverage, fantastic job of making the catch and keeping your feet in bounds by Diggs.
We asked him yesterday, how do you counter that size that guys like Houck bring? He said, with my smarts, my football savvy, and my quickness. And he ran that ball down. They give it back to Texas. From the 20, draw play begins the drive. It's Jonathan Gray with a first down. Could have maybe gotten a horse collar penalty, but no flag came out. Manoa Pikula credit with the tackle.
Now you're going to see Texas get the hurry-up tempo going here, keep BYU's defense on their heels.
From the 32, first throw of the drive. Swoops, good field in the pocket. There's going to be a holding penalty to bring this one back. It'll go on the junior left tackle Marcus Hutchins, who's making only his 2nd career start.
Holding. Offense, number 65. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Joe, these are the kind of penalties that can kill a drive, especially when you're trying to get something going right before the end of the half. Now, Texas, you're looking at a 2nd and 20, or excuse me, a 1st and 20, which may change your play calling. You know, minute 25, you're in your own end, a young quarterback. Let's see what Texas does.
Whistle before the snap.
BYU takes its first time out of the half, 30 seconds in duration.
So BYU takes that timeout. So you saw the holding penalty on the left tackle Hutchins, part of this offensive line that coming into the game statistically is the least experience in the entire country. 5 career starts among this group.
Well, yeah, losing Dom Espinoza was huge for this Texas offensive line, especially when you're starting a quarterback with such little experience as Tyrone Swoops. You need those guys to protect you, and that's a big mistake. I mean, Texas had some momentum going. The big run early, saw Swoops getting outside, break and contain, getting positive yardage. You had something going there right before halftime, and now you're in a position where you're deep behind the chains, you're deep in your own territory, and you've got a young quarterback whose confidence you really have to kind of massage right now.
There's Joe Wickline, who's the coordinator, but it's Sean Watson that calls the plays. It's complicated, right?
I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Again, that's why I'm in the booth.
Right, stay up here. 1st and 20. BYU drops 8. Swoops with another confident throw. Marcus Johnson. They get back the yards lost on the penalty with a minute 20 and counting in this first half.
4-yard gain to the 34, 2nd and 8.
So 2nd down and 8 for Texas with that clock down inside of a minute 10. Swoops well protected. Came back to his 3rd read. It was popped out of the hands of Jonathan Gray to make it 3rd down. Sky Pavay jarred it loose. Swoops, who started 9 of 9, 2 for his last 6. They said he didn't have to be great, just had to manage things. And the 2 turnovers have not been his fault. He certainly managed it for Texas. 8 in coverage on 3rd down. They still get pressure with Alani Fua for the sack. We've not said his name yet, but he comes up with a sack to put an end to this drive for Texas.
Hey, Joe, this one's going to be on Tyrone. He gets the pressure from Fua around the outside. Look at all this space. He has to step up in the pocket. Instead, he's so used to running, he's so used to using his feet that he tries to break contain. The offensive line did a nice job of giving a pocket to step up into. That's where he needs to go. He needs to go forwards, not sideways.
So Fua gets to him for the sack that makes it 4th down. Bronco Mendenhall taking a timeout, trying to get the ball back to the offense. Wednesday, be prepared for a new breed of fighter as 16 women compete for an historic UFC title. Don't miss the jaw-dropping season premiere of an all-new The Ultimate Fighter. A champion will be crowned Wednesday at 10 Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. This one's been quite a fight, defensive battle. A 6-0 BYU lead in the final moments of this first half. And a game to the personality of that guy, Charlie Strong. It's Michael Davis back to receive this towering punt from William Russ. And Davis makes the fair catch at the 24. BYU with 1 timeout left. With Taysom Hill running the show. They do send the freshman center Tijan Karoma back out there after Edward Fusi had taken over partway through that first quarter. Well, they had things rolling last drive before Hill got picked off in the end zone. Hill under pressure. Good field in the pocket to get away from the first man, but then Shiro Davis got there. Steve Edmond as well. And with that, the clock winds down to a half minute. BYU looks like conceding things with just that 1 timeout. Hill does look to throw. He tucks it quickly and absorbs another hit.
Joe, credit this Texas defense for really keeping them in the ball game. Twice they've stopped BYU inside the 20-yard line. Right now had a chance to get some points before halftime, comes up with 2 negative plays, knocks them back. This Texas defense has kept them in the ball game right now.
So a pair of field goals for BYU accounting for the scoring in this game. Last year the 2 teams combined for 61 in a 40-21 BYU win. Combined for only 6 through a half here in Austin. Critical early season matchup between a pair of 1-0 teams. BYU trying to make a statement. Texas trying to get to 2-0 under Charlie Strong. Let's go to Chris Button, who's with Bronco Mendenhall.
Thanks, Coach. You've been able to shut out Texas this first half. What have you guys been able to do to contain Tyrone Swoops in this Texas offense?
Well, it starts with the run game, and so if they're not able to run the ball effectively, then it allows us to be more coverage-oriented, more predictable when they become more predictable on longer downs.
Offensively for you, you've had some good field position, but how do you convert that and find the end zone?
Yeah, biggest difference in the game right now is not having field goals in the red zone, but having touchdowns. We need to be better in that area.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Coach. Joe?
All right, Chris, right now we send you to Rob Stone in Los Angeles. Great work by our production crew. We welcome you back to Fox Sports 1 College Football, presented by a Decree LED Bulb. Our crew showing you the pictures of that first half, a defensive-minded first half that has BYU in front 6-0 as we roll into the second half. Welcome you back inside. Joe Davis, Joey Harrington. I think it's a lot like we probably figured it would be. Defensive battle. Really, both defenses have been impressive.
Well, yeah, we talked about Taysom Hill and Tyrone Swoops for different reasons to start this ball game, but it's been the defense on both sides of the ball that have been the story. Texas has done a fantastic job of keeping BYU out of the end zone, twice forcing him to kick field goals and once coming up with a big turnover interception in the end zone. BYU has held the Texas ground game pretty much in check. Jonathan Gray, Malcolm Brown, both all Big 12 the last couple of years. 24 and 11 yards respectively. Not the output we would expect to see from such talented backs in Texas.
Let's take a look at the first half stats, which are brought to you by Geico. Just a little more than 300 combined yards between the two teams. You said it, the Texas ground game, not what you'd expect it to be. If they're going to be within 6, you'd figure that that number would be a lot higher than 43 rushing yards. You knew that with the 2 offensive tackles, the center, the quarterback, all out, there's a good chance that it was going to take a big performance from those running backs, one of America's top running back duos, to give them a chance. BYU won the opening toss, deferred to the second half, so the Cougars will have it to begin half number 2 at the 25. Let's check in with Chris Budden, who talked to Charlie Strong.
Well, Coach Strong is very pleased with his defense and being able to limit Taysom Hill. He says the key this second half is to continue to get pressure up front. I asked him what he thought of Swoops. He says, hey, for his first time out, I really like the way he's been able to manage this offense. He's been playing well. We'll see how he does this second half.
All right, Chris. Yeah, Tyrone Swoops started 8 of 8, 3 for his last 7 as that half wore on.
You know what? Texas is going to have to push the ball down the field through the air if they're going to turn the tide here in the second half. Tyrone's done a nice job of being efficient, but he's going to have to be explosive here in the second half if they're going to put points on the board.
BYU goes to Jamal Williams with the first touch of the second half, playing his first game of the season after missing last week with a suspension. Went for 31 yards on 1 carry in the first half. On his other 6 carries, went without a yard. 2nd and 6. It's Hill off the right side, and he's got a first down. Run down by Shiro Davis. Lucky for Texas that he was, because there was a lot of space out there.
Yeah, Taysom Hill there read the defensive end, Shiro Davis, saw him collapse down on the running back inside and just pulled the ball out. Those are the kind of things that Taysom Hill did to Texas last year. He read the defense. The defense was trying to do everybody else's job, make the play on their own. Texas has done a nice job of just doing their job today, and they've contained BYU running the football.
Hill feels the pressure, moves in the pocket, and throws it wide of Paul Osike. 2nd down and 10. 550 rushing yards for BYU last year against Texas. Set a school record. It was a school record for yards allowed on the ground by Texas. Coming into this half, right around 100 rushing yards, up to 128 on the night. It's Hill again trying to get the corner. Davis can't get to him. Hicks does to angle him out of bounds. Get credit for his 9th tackle on a pickup of about 9. We'll give him 10 and a first down. Pressure on first down. Into the flats, LG Brown. His 4th catch already. And hog tied down by Adrian Colbert. That's another BYU first down.
You know, Joe, we haven't seen either offense really take a shot down the field. The one time we saw BYU go deep was when Quandre Diggs came up with a big interception in the end zone. One of these offenses needs to take a shot. They got to stretch the field, or else you're going to be in a punching battle right around midfield all game.
Zipped in there to Mitch Matthews to get 4 yards. Duke Thomas was right on top of him. 2nd down and 6. On only the 2nd catch for Matthews. Led the team last week with 5 catches for 62 yards. That 35-10 win against UConn. Williams downhill with a first down. And BYU efficient on this opening drive of the second half.
Well, yeah, and you're starting to see the BYU offensive line chip away and open up some big holes. Look at the size of the hole that Jamal Williams has to run through here. Very nice job by the offensive line creating space. It's easy for, I could run through that hole.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not.
No, you got it.
Yeah.
Come on, give yourself a little more credit. First down at the 32. Lasike off the left side into the arms of Caleb Blewett. Michael Thompson there as well, nearing double digits. The tackle column. They give him 2, second down and 8. This BYU team so deep across the board on offense. Part of the reason they're able to run this up-tempo style. Averaged 85.5 plays a game last year. That was 3rd nationally. On second down, Hill steps out of pressure and has the seam for a first down and more. Hurdles his way. Highlight reel. Touchdown.
What a great job of allowing the play to develop. Look at Taysom Hill waiting in the pocket. Finally makes his break, and you know what? Because he kept his eyes downfield so long, it allowed the Texas defenders to simply clear out of the way. The DBs were so far down the field that by the time he cleared the line of scrimmage, he had nothing but running room. And frankly, you try and tackle Taysom Hill in the open field, he's going to do just that. Jump right over the top of you.
Right over Dylan Haynes. 30-yard touchdown run for Taysom Hill as the training staff comes out and takes a look. And DeAndre Wesley, right tackle for this BYU team. And good to see him help to his feet. So Taysom Hill in that game last year in Provo, the 259 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, it was just up and down the field, but there wasn't a signature moment like that.
Wow, that was impressive. I mean, that type of play shows why he should be regarded and talked about, frankly. Let's throw him in the Heisman conversation. Why not? This guy is as talented as Marcus Mariota. He's as talented as Bryce Petty, Jameis Winston. This guy has the talent to compete with all those other quarterbacks, but the fact that he plays for BYU and not in a power conference, people don't see him. Let's get this guy into the discussion.
Trevor Sampson tacks on the extra point. BYU with the game's first touchdown with a 13-0 lead. Taysom Hill, who Bronco Mendenhall says is the fastest player on the team, one of the best athletes, one of the best people he's ever coached, has BYU in front by 2 scores. 30 yards of brilliance for Taysom Hill to get the game's first touchdown and a 13-0 BYU lead, capping a 9-play, 75-yard drive that goes the first 2:54 this second half. Nearing 300 total yards for the junior from Idaho on a muggy night here in Austin. So now how does Texas respond? Marcus Johnson had a solid return to open the game that was brought back by a penalty. Waits back for this one from Andrew Mickelson. Johnson from his own goal line. The coverage teams are there. Michael Olisa drops him inside the 10. And now for a Lowe's Never Stop Improving game break. What's going on in Eugene?
Well, Joe Davis, this is going to make your partner happy. Oregon trailed Michigan State at the half, but they have come all the way back and then some. Freshman Royce Freeman, 38-yard touchdown run. The Ducks lead Sparty 39-27 in the 4th. Guys?
In Joey Harrington comeback fashion right now. Huh?
Hardly.
How about hanging 39 points on Michigan State?
Well, yeah, I said earlier in the week, you got to be great on defense if you're Michigan State this year. We know they're good, but they got to be great to stop that Oregon offense.
This drive starts at the 11. Malcolm Brown has just not been able to get going. 8 carries for 8 yards.
You know, Joe, that is because BYU is able to stay so close to the line of scrimmage. Yes, Tyrone Swoops has done a very nice job of throwing the football in his first start here, but all of those throws are within about 10, 15 yards of the line of scrimmage. There's no threat to go deep. The one time he tried to go deep into the, excuse me, that was in the other side of the ball. Tyrone Swoops has not pushed the ball down the field, and if you're a BYU defender, you can then creep closer, creep closer. You know that you don't have the threat because they haven't trusted Tyrone to throw the ball down the field yet.
7 in the box for this second down play. Swoops gets away from 4. And will get pushed out of bounds inside the 10. Dallin Levitt forced him out. 3rd down.
And Joe, watch the pressure coming from the top of your screen. Fua just comes unblocked. Swoops does a nice job of pivoting backwards. Now at this point, it's throw the ball away. You know what? That's a young mistake by a young quarterback. You did a great job of break and contain, avoiding the big loss, but you still took a loss of 5 yards, and so it's 3rd and 15 instead of 3rd and 10. You can throw that football away and save your team 5 yards.
Texas in a dangerous spot right now with an offense that's not been able to do anything and in danger of giving the ball back to BYU. Down 2 scores already, down at its own end of the field.
Texas fakes their first time out of the half. 30 seconds in duration.
Charlie Strong realizes the importance of this play and uses his first time out of the second half. After us, Texas Tech and UTEP. Coverage continuing right here next on Fox Sports 1. Streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Texas Tech program that was one of the 2 teams nationally that ran more plays per game than BYU last year. That's a fun brand of football that Coach Kingsbury's got them running up there in Lubbock.
Boy, Davis Webb, the young freshman last year, coming in and lighting the world on fire for the first few games there. Struggled at the end of the season, but you know what? That's to be expected for young quarterbacks, young coaching staff. I'm excited to see what Coach Kingsbury is going to do with the Red Raiders there in now his 2nd season.
3rd down and 14 here with a young quarterback backed into his own end. Do you take a shot downfield like you're talking about, or do you just cut your losses and put in the belly of one of your running backs?
Well, you know what? You've asked me this a couple times today. It's a tough call. I mean, this is why the coaches are paid the big bucks. I wouldn't fault him if he took a shot down the field right now.
Steps into his throw off of the hands of Johnson, and it's 4th down. So they'll have to punt out of their own end zone. BYU goes the length of the field on its opening drive of the half, and now for Texas, a 3 and out.
Joe, Texas is in a difficult position. I mean, this is a key moment of the ball game. You're at a moment where you're giving BYU the ball back with potentially great field position, a chance to go up 3 scores and put the pressure on a young quarterback.
Good punt from Russ, shifting the field to the 44. That's an important punt right there for William Russ. BYU goes the distance on its opening possession of the half. Texas a 3 and out. Levitt with a sack in a 13-0 game. Pair of first half field goals and then a touchdown in the opening drive of this second half for BYU on a 13-0 lead. Fox Searchlight presents the new crime thriller, The Drop, starring Tom Hardy and James Gandolfini. It's in theaters September 12th. And you're looking at a critical possession for this BYU or this Texas defense. It begins from the 45 for BYU. They start with a Taysom Hill throw on the money on the slant to Jordan Leslie. Quandre Diggs with a stop. They give him 9.5. Spot him like right at the sticks. Just short. 2nd down.
And Joe, BYU had all the room in the world to run that slant route because Texas had committed 8 guys up to the line of scrimmage to stop the run.
Adam Heeney with a cut. They get a first down up to the 43. Heeney got his first career receiving touchdown last week. Part of this 4 running back rotation for BYU. Deep at every position on this side of the ball. On first down, play action against pressure. Gets rid of it as he's hit. It hangs up, and it's knocked around and caught. Jordan Leslie somehow pulls it in at the 16. A 28-yard gain, and right now everything going BYU's way.
Completed catch. First
Wow,
down.
look at the concentration by Leslie here. Ball bouncing around. Taysom Hill gets hit as he throws, so the ball was not on target. Fantastic play by Leslie out there at wide receiver.
And quickly backing the ball right back at him. Looking wide side. In and out of the hands of Leslie.
Joe, take another look here. Check out the concentration by Leslie. Taysom Hill hit as he was throwing the ball in the pocket. Caused that pass to be behind him. Just makes a spectacular catch.
Second and 10. Option play. Straight ahead. Hine is in. Touchdown BYU. They gas him for 16 and open up a 3-score lead here in Austin.
Look at the hole created by the offensive line for BYU. Wham! Pulling guard, knocks out the end. Hine straight up the middle, one-on-one with the safety. You're not going to stop him. With a head of steam and a big back like that, you're not going to make that tackle.
So Hine with his first rushing score 1 week after he gets his first receiving score. And Charlie Strong right now wondering where that defense in the first 3 halves of this season has gone. And moved the ball into the red zone on this acrobatic catch from Jordan Leslie, the UTEP transfer. And then 2 plays later, it was Adam Hine busting up the gut of the Texas defense for the touchdown.
Joe, watch the BYU offensive line clear out the defensive line for Texas. Steve Edmonds comes over the top, takes him out of the play, and the pulling guard right there, knocking out Jenkins, opens up a clear hole for Hine to run. Wonderful job by the BYU offensive line driving the D-line back. Steve Edmonds took himself out of the play, and then it was a double team on Jenkins that cleared the way for Hine to score that touchdown.
Now, sure didn't take long. They go 55 yards in 1:09 and 2 touchdowns in the first 5+ of the second half after going without one over the first 2 quarters. Marcus Johnson coming out, trying to give Texas some kind of boost, but a flag is going to bring this one back inside the 10 to begin this drive.
During the return, holding, return team number 55, half the distance to the goal, 1st and 10, Texas.
Well, next weekend, UCLA travels here to Texas to take on these Longhorns in a special matchup at AT&T Stadium. It'll be the first meeting since 2011 between these teams. Series all-time tied 3-3. UCLA got the 3 defensive touchdowns last week to beat Virginia in their opening game and take it on Memphis tonight. Full slate of games, including a doubleheader on Fox. We'll start the action on Fox at 4. Illinois at Washington, which won a shootout against Eastern Washington today, 59-52. Run play begins this drive and a short gain. And again, you've said it several times, they're going to have to back this defense off by taking some shots at some point.
Yeah. You have to soften up this BYU secondary, because even when Texas is getting through the front 7, the safeties are so tight that they're making the tackle. I know you have a young quarterback, and confidence is fragile at such a young stage of your career, but if you're going to have a chance to win this football game, you must push the ball down the field. You're not going to score 3 touchdowns running the ball between the tackles.
Pressure off of the edge on 2nd down, and it gets knocked out at the line of scrimmage. Logan Taele Batted that one down with Alani Fua coming on the blitz. Just like that, 3rd and 9. That's Travis Tuiloma limping off. The starting nose in this 3-4. We've also had Bronson Kafusi out since early on in this game with an injury.
Joe, if I'm Swoops, I'm looking for Jackson Shipley right here. Find your safety blanket.
Here they take a shot, and it's nowhere close. And they brought pressure. Swoops had to get rid of it, but no chance to find Johnson. It was covered by Sky Pavey. In a serious danger zone right now for Texas, down 20-0 and punting it away.
Well, you're in danger of letting this game get out of control right now if you're Texas. Texas's defense has done a very nice job, with the exception of, maybe the last series or two.
Yep. With the exception of the second half,
well,
really.
Exactly. In the first half, they kept BYU out of the end zone, created a turnover in the end zone, but you can't do it all night.
Line drive kick that'll give Juergens a chance. Juergens is going to set up great field position. This drive begins at the 27 for the Cougars. A return at 20 yards for the Texas native. One of 9 on this roster. Taysom Hill brings this offense back out without a touchdown in the first half, but touchdowns on both drives of this second half. Hill keeps and uses his speed to get around Edmond for a first, or close to a first down at the 20.
And Joe, Texas talked about doing your job and being accountable. That's exactly what they did right here. The D-line takes the dive. Edmonds comes around to keep the quarterback. Quandre Diggs, you see him at the bottom of the screen, is on the pitch. Sometimes you're just a better athlete, and Taysom Hill makes a miss in the open field.
Now what are you going to do? Assignment sound. Over the head of Williams, 3rd and short. Jordan Hicks was waiting for him. First true test of the Charlie Strong era. After romping North Texas last week, down 20-0, 3rd down and 1. Williams with a first down. Quandre Diggs with a tackle after 7 yards. This BYU drive continues.
Watch this, Joe, right here. Edmonds on the end is going to be the guy they option. You're going to leave him unblocked. He has to make a decision. Do I take the quarterback or do I take the dive man? Right there, he's caught in the middle. In no man's land, Taysom Hill gives the ball. It's an easy first down.
Hill off play action, ducks it, and gets down to the 7. Edmond ran him down this time. Give him 6, 2nd and 4. This has happened so quickly. It's a 6-0 game coming out of the halftime break. Now BYU on the verge of going up 4 scores. Williams stacked up at the 5. It'll be 3rd down and 2. Hicks in there with Reed. Dylan Haynes as well.
Joe, if I'm BYU, I keep running this option. Force the Texas defense to be assignment sound. Force them to be accountable. Last year they weren't. Now's the time of the game where you get tired and you start to do too much. Make them do it all night.
It's Hill on a design quarterback run for a first down to the 2. Jordan Hicks with a tackle, but not before Hill gets 4 yards to extend this drive. First down and goal for the Cougars. It's Hill off the left side. A nice job by Quandre Diggs to come up and meet him, but he bounces off for a touchdown. 3 drives and 3 touchdowns for BYU. They're rolling Texas for the 2nd straight season.
Joe, he does it in every way possible. 150 yards through the air, 133 and 2 touchdowns on the ground. He's run around them. This time he just runs through the Texas defense. He's strong, he's fast, he's smart. Taysom Hill deserves all the praise that should be coming to him this season.
And those are the same kind of looks that were plastered on Texas fans' faces sitting at home watching the game on TV, taking place in Provo 1 year ago tomorrow. It was a 40-21 BYU win. And the Cougars proven that it was no fluke. 27-0, 5:51 left 3rd quarter. Fox Sports 1 college football is presented by the Cree LED Bulb. Taysom Hill with his 2nd rushing touchdown of the 2nd half. He's also thrown for close to 150. A complete performance for the junior out of Idaho.
Young man does it all. 150 in the air, 130 on the ground. If I was a betting man, I would say he gets a few more on the ground before this game is over. If I was a betting man.
But you're not. High but short kick. Here comes Johnson. When the ball came out, it's loose on the bottom of the pile. I think Michael Alisa jarred it out of there. And the wheels have totally fallen off for Texas.
Well, Joe, when it goes bad, it just goes bad. And I don't think anybody would have predicted for the game to go this direction from what we saw at halftime. We saw a stout Texas defense. We saw a very good performance in the first half by Tyrone Swoops. And ever since they came out from the halftime break, BYU has just flipped a light switch and just turned it on in every facet of this game.
LG Brown running out of arm tackles and getting close to a 1st down. And it's turned into a spot where BYU wants to be here more than Texas does. It is enough to move the chains. A 1st down at the 13. Short game for Brown this time. BYU has completely demoralized Texas. And again, that defense played well for the Longhorns in the first half. Held them to a pair of field goals. But BYU looking to make it 4 touchdown drives in this 3rd quarter. For the first 10 minutes of this 3rd quarter. Hill steps into a slant. That's Matthews reaching into the end zone. They spot him down at the 1. So 1st down and goal for BYU.
The ruling on the field is that the runner was down prior to the ball coming out. 1st down.
Well, Joe, it looks like Matthews extends the ball out to the goal line. The question is his knee down before the ball gets there? Because the ball got to the goal line. Watch his knee here. There. Yep, he was down.
A 1st down and goal. Why not Taysom Hill again? 3rd rushing touchdown. 4th BYU touchdown of the 3rd quarter. I feel like we're watching Brazil, Germany in the World Cup.
Why? Because there's a 0 on the scoreboard and you think it's soccer?
It's just totally demoralized and taking the home crowd out of the game. 34-0 Cougars in front of a shocked crowd in Austin.
Okay, here's the plan. You're going to want to turn right
in 0.2 miles.
Watch the lane.
And we have this really great view.
Got a car in our blinds.
And we learned how to salsa dance. He was dancing.
Backseat drivers just met their match. Introducing the entirely new Sonata Sport.
You forgot to turn off the...
From Hyundai.
It was 6-0 to begin the second half, but BYU has scored 4 touchdowns on 4 drives to begin this third quarter.
Where do you even begin? Taysom Hill has taken over this ball game. A defense that had held the BYU offense out of the end zone the entire first half. Taysom Hill just ignited the BYU offense. He's done it through the air. He's done it on the ground. He's done it with his head. Reading the defenders. When it's time to give it, he gives it. When it's time to keep it, he keeps it. When it's time to drop his shoulder and just run through somebody, he does that as well. Taysom Hill is a fantastic football player, and he needs to be talked about right now for these national awards. I mean, he's as good as you got in college football.
Johnson thought about coming out, taking the knee. Let's go to Chris for more.
Well, Joe, when you ask Texas about Taysom Hill, they all compare him to one guy, Tim Tebow. They said it over and over again. But what about this compliment from former BYU great Steve Young? He said, quote, I believe the incremental gain for Taysom year over year is going to be really big. I see a better me. What a compliment from the Hall of Famer, Joe.
Yeah, the guy who obviously played at BYU, finished second, running for the Heisman Trophy his senior season. That's lofty praise.
Well, you know what? It's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, Taysom Hill has a part to his game that Steve Young didn't have. We saw it on that second touchdown one where he dropped his shoulder into a safety and ran through him.
Yeah. Shipley with the reception on first down. This is only the 7th play of the second half for Texas. They've got -1 in total yards.
You know, Joe, that's an interesting stat.
BYU takes its first time out of the half. 30 seconds in duration.
It's an interesting stat, and it speaks to the consistency of what Bronco Mendenhall has put together here on defense. You know, BYU lost 7 of their top 10 tacklers from last year's defense. Kyle Van Noy goes to the NFL. Now, in this game, Bronson Kafusi out. Travis Tuilomo out. You know, they've done this with reserves. You just plug and go with this BYU defense, and you have to give Bronco Mendenhall a tremendous amount of credit for installing a system that works with the type of players he can recruit here at BYU. Doesn't matter who's in there. They're still great on defense.
Take a quick look at the Quicken Loans game summary. It was 6-0 at halftime and a pair of BYU field goals. With 4 touchdowns on 4 drives in the second half. And look at the total yards in the third quarter on that third line of the graphic. 183 to -1. This is 2nd and 8. Swoops on time, finds John Harris, who's gone quiet after a active start to this game when Swoops started 8 for 8. It'll be 3rd down and short. Swoops dumps it off. Malcolm Brown gets cut down with a tremendous open field tackle. We'll see where they spot him. Looks like just short. 4th down and less than a yard. And you're at a point here where you got to go in a situation like this, you would think.
Well, it looks like they are. You know, at this point in the ball game, you just want to expose Tyrone to as many possible situations as you can. Everything is learning at this point.
He sneaks it and gets it. And a sarcastic cheer from the crowd on the first down of the second half for Texas. Malcolm Brown gets tripped up by Dallin Levitt, who went to your high school in Portland.
I was going to say that's exactly what this defense allows. The safeties can come up hard because there's no threat down the field right now. Dallin Levitt comes from 12 yards deep in safety position because he knows that they're not going over the top. He's coming up to play run support and makes an aggressive play in the backfield.
Shipley close to a first down to the 45. Zach Stout made the tackle. They give him enough for a first down. A little bit of rhythm to this offense now.
Joe, I know you have to protect a young quarterback's confidence, but you have to give some sort of threat to the opposing defense. BYU has known from the start that Texas is not going to push the ball down the field, and they can commit guys to stopping the run. They've done it all night.
There's Brown slipping down in the hole for a couple. Only one time they went really over the top, and it was when BYU sold out with a blitz. They really had no other choice on a third down and long.
Well, yeah, and they're deep in their own territory.
Yeah. Predictable at that point.
Absolutely.
He keeps it on second down, gets a block from Swain, gets one from Johnson, and a first down into Cougar territory. 14-yard carry to the 39. Craig Bills shoved them out.
Hey, Joe, you said it. Look, check out Swain right here, 82. Coming back inside, gets a really nice block to spring Tyrone Swoops around the outside. Look, not everything is going bad for Texas right now. Great play by Jeff Swain, getting his quarterback to the edge.
Jonathan Gray off the left side. He's had a quiet night. Had that fumble in the first half. Second down and 7. Nice timing on that throw for a first down. Inside the 15 goes Lorenzo Joe, the true freshman from Abilene, Texas, with his first career catch.
And there you go. Tyrone Swoops throwing the football down the field. BYU committed 8 guys to stopping the run, which leaves one-on-one coverage outside. Nice protection up front. Nice delivery by Swoops.
Gray navigating for a short gain. It's the longest play of the day for Texas, 22-yard completion. On second down and 9, a corner blitz, and they run right into it. Jordan Prater coming off of the edge, gets the tackle, set it up third and long. Bronco Mendenhall will use a timeout.
BYU takes a second timeout of the half. 30 seconds in duration.
Let's check into LA for a game break.
All right, guys, Virginia Tech trying to spoil Ohio State's home opener. Michael Brewer able to get it away to Sam Rogers. 10-yard touchdown. Hokies lead it 21-7 at the half in Columbus. Back to you.
All right, that's an Ohio State team that last week had to play Navy right down to the wire. Of course, losing their quarterback, Braxton Miller. Rough day for the Big Ten. Granted, there's a full half left in that game, but a rough day across the landscape for the Big Ten.
Well, right, Michigan State going into Autzen and losing there by a couple touchdowns there in the fourth quarter. Ohio State down to Va Tech. Braxton Miller's ain't coming back. That defense for Ohio State gave up over 300 yards on the ground to Navy last week. They've got some things to shore up in Columbus if they're going to make a run and compete with the Michigan States in the Big Ten.
Probably plenty of you just tuning into this one after finishing up watching Oregon finish off Michigan State and wondering how in the world we've gotten here. 34-0. Closing seconds of the third quarter. Swoops throw hits John Harris, and Harris is in for a touchdown. Finally, something to feel good about for the Longhorns, who gave up touchdowns on 4 consecutive drives to open this third quarter.
Just a nice individual effort by John Harris. Swoops gives him a nice ball and a quick out. puts his foot in the ground, stops, and comes back inside. Makes Fu a miss and steps his way into the end zone. Nice effort by John Harris.
And Swoops fired up with his first career touchdown pass. Had a touchdown run last year. Sneaks over. Texas is on the board. And they'll avoid the first shutout in Austin since 1976. It's a good effort played by Harris.
Yeah, it is. And John Harris, a guy who came in with a lot of hype out of high school as a big-time wide receiver, really hadn't lived up to his potential. They moved him to tight end last season. And when the new coaching staff came in, they said John Harris was one of the first guys to buy in. Say, you know what? I'm gonna make the effort. I'm gonna change. I'm gonna do things the right way. And it's paid off. Big night last week. Touchdown catch right now. Credit John Harris with a great effort.
He said he had a wake-up call meeting with Charlie Strong in January, and all the players came in and had individual meetings with Coach Strong where he had put together clips, 10 to 15 plays from the previous season of these guys' worst plays, and it was painful to watch, they said, but it was something that he learned from, and that wake-up call, put in extra work, dropped more than 15 pounds, did Harris, got in great shape, had the best camp of any player on this roster according to the staff. And after having 9 catches over his first 3 seasons, 16 over the first 2 games this year. Here's Hine, the most recent rushing touchdown for BYU. The return out to the 18. Inside of a half minute in this third quarter. When we finish up, college football continues. Texas Tech and UTEP. Right here on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. One of UTEP's former star players, Jordan Leslie, has been a big part of this BYU attack tonight. Played 3 seasons at UTEP, completed his degree, and has transferred into BYU. Didn't have to sit out because he completed that undergraduate degree. He's been part of the 34-point output for the Cougars. What could be the final play of this third quarter? Jamal Williams into the secondary for 16 yards.
Hey, Joe, and going into this fourth quarter, this is gut check time for Texas's defense. You've given up 4 straight touchdowns. You've talked about how you're going to buy into the system, how you're going to buy into being accountable. Well, you know what? That happens from start to finish. And even though you're down by 27 points, you still need to show this new coaching staff that you are here for the right reasons and you're going to put out the effort.
How about the statement tonight from BYU? A 40-21 win against Texas last year. And right now a 34-7 lead over the Longhorns as we roll to the 4th in Austin. All BYU tonight on Fox Sports 1 College Football, presented by the Cree LED Bowl. 34-7. We welcome you back to Austin. BYU looking to cap off a 2nd straight win over Texas after a 40-21 win in Provo last year. First down play to begin the 4th quarter as Williams getting a couple. Bryson Eccles coming from his corner spot to make the tackle. 2nd and 8.
And Joe, if I'm the coaching staff for Texas, I'm looking to see who rolls over and who bows their neck and says, you know what, I'm not going to let this happen anymore. This is a big character-defining moment for the Texas football team, and I want to see who shows up and who backs down.
Pressure off of the edge from Diggs gets picked up and gives Hill time to fire one for Matthews. Out of his reach, 3rd down. 4 drives in that 3rd quarter and 4 touchdowns for Taysom Hill and BYU. Crowd comes alive trying to support this Texas defense. Just a 4-man rush, collapsing the pocket and getting to Hill. Malcolm Brown with a sack, and it's 4th down.
Well, there you go. That's exactly what I wanted to see if I was Coach Charlie Strong. I wanted to see who pinned their ears back and still brought their effort even though you're down by 27 in the fourth quarter. Just a straight bull rush by Malcolm Brown. Pushes the offensive lineman back into the backfield. A little swim to get inside. Fantastic individual effort.
He's got 9 tackles now. That's the 5th sack of the night for this Texas defense. Shipley goes back for the Scott Arlano punt, only his 3rd of the game. A whistle before the snap.
Delay game. Kicking team. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Tried to get to it, but couldn't. Arlano booms one. Shipley retreating back inside his own 25 and hemmed in. Alani Fua with a special teams tackle after a return of 7. Long night for this Texas defense. Really a long 3rd quarter for this Texas defense, but Malcolm Brown and the unit still fighting. Down 4 scores. Win or lose, you've always got 6th Street to fall back on at the end of the night. I think they'll still probably have a pretty good time down there. Although, a better time had this gone differently. Really, the 3rd quarter, the difference in this game. 4 touchdown drives for BYU in that frame. Swoops rolls out and has completed 6 in a row. This one to Shipley for a 1st down to the 44.
Watch Swoops get outside the pocket here. Got a man in the flat, Jonathan Gray, to hold the flat defender. Throws the corner route to Shipley over the top. Nice read and nice delivery.
Run play on 1st down, Jonathan Gray with one of his best runs of the night for 5.
You know, Joe, we're back to what it looked like in the first half here. I mean, you blink and miss 4 touchdowns, and all of a sudden Texas comes up with a big stop on defense. Swoops settles in, throws the ball down the field a little bit, and now it looks like it did midway through the 2nd quarter.
Gray can't hold on. And it's 3rd down. An entire 3rd quarter was played on one end of the field. Several 3-and-outs for the Texas offense. A fumble on a kick return. And BYU taking advantage with each opportunity. On 3rd down against pressure behind Shipley, who gets pounded by Bills, and now 4th down.
Yeah, Jackson Shipley takes a shot from Bills coming up from the safety position. Ball delivered on his back shoulder. Maybe he saw the defender inside, thought he had to stop him in the hole.
They bring just 4 on 4th down, and that one's broken up. How about the game Rob Daniels played in his 1st game of the season? There was Sky Pavey, and BYU takes over. With 12:44 left in this one, the Cougars in front 34-7. Well on their way to a 2nd straight win against Texas.
Joe, here's what happens when you don't have any threat down the field. Sky Povey from his safety position, Rob Daniel at the corner are both going to be driving on this square out because they know that even though they have a route going up the sideline, he's not throwing it to him. You have to have at least the threat of a downfield presence to stretch this defense. BYU has been at the line of scrimmage all day looking into the backfield.
And with that turnover on downs, they take over, and Taysom Hill coughs it up. That's scooped up by Desmond Jackson. And Texas gets a takeaway. Going to flip that one off to Shiro Davis. They say that he successfully did. Brown jarred loose. Jackson picked it up, and Davis took it inside the 30.
And we mentioned it on the last drive, Joe. if you're Coach Charlie Strong, you're looking to see who shows up on your defense and who packs it in. Right now, the Texas defense, Malcolm Brown there in the middle, again, getting in and making a nice individual play. This Texas defense, credit them. They are not giving up, even though they're down by 24 or 27 right now.
How many times have you seen a D lineman in that situation kick the ball, not be able to pick it up cleanly?
They just get too excited.
Yeah.
Big men don't get in the ball in their hands very often.
He did it well there, and even had an option pitch off to another D lineman. See if the Horns take advantage. They may take a look to see if his arm was coming forward.
On the field is a fumble, and another fumble recovered by the defense. The previous play is under further review.
So there could be a couple of different parts they're looking at. Was the ball flipped off before Desmond Jackson was down? Any chance it wasn't a fumble on the initial play?
All right, you're going to see Malcolm Brown, number 90, come in here, force the fumble. You're going to see Desmond Jackson, 99, come around.
So no question
recover
there.
the ball. Ball's out. Now the question is does Desmond Jackson go down with possession before? And you can't see from that angle.
No, but it's the second week in a row we've had a big man throwing a ball forward, laying on his back. We had this at Baylor last week, too. I'm pretty sure they're going to say that Jackson was down.
Okay, possession has been established.
And now down.
And now he's down.
So the ball will be spotted. It looks like, what, at the 42?
Yeah, there's no question about whose possession it is. It's just a matter of spotting the football.
So that'll lose him about 15 yards. Let's check into LA with our rules expert, Mike Pereira.
You turn it down. I got to tell you, it's like we're always involved in these double changes of possession, huh? But you're right. You're right, Joey. You know, you've got the clean fumble with the quarterback, and then Jackson is down when the ball comes loose. So they'll put him down there. I would assume
After the recovery by the defense, the Texas runner was down before fumbling the ball a second time. It's Texas's ball at the 42-yard line on the right hash. Set the clock to 12:35.
All right, Mike, thank you. So they did get that right, and it is Texas ball at the 42.
And I think, Joe, I think anytime you guys have two fumbles in one play, I'll just automatically be on.
All right, that sounds good.
It's just going to be history for the two of us.
Yeah, that sounds good, Mike. Thank you. Texas does get the ball at the 42. Down 4 touchdowns early on in this fourth quarter. That one was much easier to sort out than the one we had with Mike last week. Brown with a nice cut. And explodes into the secondary for a first down and a gain of 16.
Where was this 30 minutes ago?
Yeah.
I mean, this Texas offense is looking like they did in the first half, but for that entire third quarter, they were absent.
Back to Brown into the short side, and BYU rallies this time. Michael Elisa led the charge. We talked to him this week. He said that the reason this defense is so good, besides the fact that the system is sound, is because they run to the ball like a pack of dogs.
I don't have a whole lot of experience with packs of dogs, but I would assume that would be
that's what it would look like.
Not a good thing to face if you had a football in your hands. Or maybe a T-bone in your hands.
Picked off. It's Elisa. How about Michael Elisa back inside midfield? Guides back at linebacker after a couple of years at running back and a couple of years of battling injuries. He returns at 30 yards. And BYU takes control once again. What great anticipation. Reading the eyes, stepping out, picking it off. Fox Sports 1 College Football is presented by the Cree LED bulb. Chris Button, how about this guy, Michael Elisa, huh, with that interception there.
Yeah, and that injury that you talked about is what made him move to defense. The coaches went to them and they said, how would you like to move from running back to linebacker? He said, I'm game, let's do it. We asked him, what's the difference, the biggest difference? He says, offense, way more intense. He says the injuries, though, is feeling better. He's the old man on this team. So he says, right about now, everything hurts.
Yeah, he made that move to defense, and he said right away he knew when he got into fall camp and the very first time that he rallied to a ball, like he said, like a pack of dogs with his defense and got there first. He knew that he was back at home at a spot that he would enjoy.
Well, replacing Bronson Kafusi today, doing a nice job. Bronson, the versatile 6'7" outside linebacker. At least he doesn't have the size, but boy, he had the athleticism there and made a nice play to give BYU the ball back.
Speaking of athleticism, Taysom Hill facing the rush, gets it off to Jordan Leslie for a first down. So BYU inside of 11 minutes away from moving to 2-0. For their first big test against Texas tonight. They went on the road to UConn last week, took care of business against Bob Diaco's team there. With a monster third quarter of taking care of Texas. Second consecutive season. They're able to hold on to this one, that they'll have taken Texas down. Bronco Mendenhall's made it no secret that he would like BYU to be considered to join the Big 12. I'm not sure how realistic that would ever be, but they've certainly made a statement that at least on the field they belong in that category.
Well, yeah, after the performance tonight, I don't see why it shouldn't at least be considered based on the strength of the football program. But there comes a point where BYU has to be included in these top 25 votes. They have to start being included in the discussions of, you know, you talk about the group of 5 conferences outside of the Power 5, the Pac-12, the Big 12, the Big 10, the ACC, and the SEC get automatic berths into this new playoff system. There's going to be a team from the group of 5, which are the smaller conferences. BYU's left out of that.
Right.
Because they're independent. They're not included, and they have to work their way into essentially the top 10 rankings at the end of the season to be included in that playoff system.
Right, so they'd have to get in to one of those New Year's 6 bowls as an at-large team. Obviously into the playoff, those are all chosen by the committee, but so are the other bowls as part of that rotation, the New Year's 6. And it's contingent on the year based on what part of the rotation the bowls are in, how many at-large spots there are, where those spots would be. But I mean, BYU is going to have to run the table in order to be part of that discussion. Whether that's fair or not.
Right. Remember, with the new system, it is purely based on the rankings of the playoff committee. You got your automatic qualifiers out of each conferences, and then you have the highest ranked of the, let's call them the mid-majors, the group of 5 conferences after that, and then you simply fill the spots with the highest remaining ranked teams. So if BYU can work their way into, like we said, it's probably going to have to be into the top 10. They're going to have a chance to play in one of those games.
Taysom Hill drills it to Leslie for a first down inside the 10. Got a tie-in with the Miami Beach Bowl this year. So as an independent, they still do have those tie-ins. A couple of years from now, Poinsettia Bowl tie-ins. So they won't go without a home as far as bowl season goes, but Bronco Mendenhall also not shy about talking about the goal of this program is to win national championships. It's just facing a little bit different of a hurdle now that we're into the college football playoff era. Adam Hine gashes Texas for another score. It's an 8-yard touchdown run, his second of the game. And for the second straight year, BYU has poured 40 on Texas.
I mean, there's nothing special about that, Joe. I paused to take a look at the replay to see if there was something that jumped out.
Yeah.
BYU just blocked Texas. They played better football on that drive. They played better football all game. They need to be talked about. This is a very, very good BYU football team, and they're getting ready to shock a few people in the college football landscape.
Second straight season, BYU has scored 40 points against Texas. 40-21 last year. Who would have thought they could do better than that this year in Austin? Joe Davis, Joey Harrington, Chris Budden. At DKR, Texas Memorial Stadium, which is more than half empty at this point. The dominating third quarter for BYU, 6-0 after a half. They scored 4 touchdowns on 4 possessions in the third. Short kick taken by Johnson on the move at the 10. It's hard at the 21. That's where Texas will begin. So BYU will start the season 2-0. Start this season that'll be a long road, a lot of miles to be traveled. In fact, more than 14,000 miles that this team will travel. They went all the way to Connecticut to start the season, down to Texas for this one. They go to UCF, at Middle Tennessee, short trips to Boise and Cal. And they've got that bowl tie-in in Miami to finish the season if they don't find their way into the group of, or to the New Year's Six bowls. So when you start taking a look at Bronco Mendenhall's schedule, it is by no means an easy schedule. They've gone out of the way to make the independent slate that they play one that's more than respectable on a national level. But you really can make an argument that this is a team that'll have a shot to go 12-0.
Yeah, you're going to have to run the table, though.
Yeah.
You're going to have games. You got Virginia at home, a Virginia team that played UCLA very tough a couple weeks ago. You're going to Central Florida. You're at Boise. You got Chucky Keaton in Utah State. I think it's interesting, though, that both the ACC and the SEC came out this week and said that they're not going to schedule BYU anymore. That's something that could really hurt BYU's strength of schedule as they're trying to build that resume for the college football playoff voters.
Penalties decline. Result of the play, first down.
I think it hurts the national perception of BYU, too. Those schools say it. It's not, the SEC's not saying they're not playing BYU because they're scared of them. They're saying that they don't consider them on the level of Power 5 conferences. When you start looking at the SEC and the ACC a couple of years from now, mandating that their teams play at least one game in the non-conference schedule against a group Power 5 conference team. They don't consider BYU to be on the level of those teams. A few more nights like this, they're going to change their minds in that regard. May not change the rule, but at least have to admit this BYU team belongs in those kinds of discussions. Gray out of the backfield for a few. And so we just took a look at that schedule, and you can make an argument in every game they have left that they could not be favored, but close to favored in just about every game they have left.
Well, as long as you have Taysom Hill, you got a chance. I mean, this guy is truly one of the best players in college football, and if you hadn't heard of him before tonight, you will. I mean, 180 yards through the air, 130 yards on the ground. He does it all. He does it all for this BYU offense.
The quarterback was out of bounds prior to throwing the football. Fourth down.
So Swoop stepped on the sideline before letting that pass go, which was incomplete anyways. You know, Taysom Hill originally signed with Stanford, but Jim Harbaugh left for the 49ers job while Hill was on a 2-year mission to Sydney, Australia. Got back in the middle of the school year. Stanford doesn't take mid-year enrollees. He already was kind of leaning away from staying there with Harbaugh gone. And found a home at BYU. Mike Davis. It's actually Devon Blackman in his first game in a BYU uniform. And it is no big surprise that he is our player of the game.
Yeah, Taysom Hill did everything for BYU tonight. He did it with his arm. He did it with his legs. He did it with his legs in the air. He did it with his legs around the corner. And he did it with his legs running through the safeties trying to tackle him on the goal line. Look, this guy, I feel like a broken record here. He truly deserves to be in the discussion for an award like the Heisman Trophy. You're giving it to the most outstanding player in college football, and if BYU continues to win football games, puts themselves in that national position, in the top 25, in the eyes of the voters for the playoff committee, there's no reason why Taysom Hill should not be considered, at least talked about, for that award.
Tonight is our Academy Sports and Outdoors Right Stuff Player of the Game. Christian Stewart comes in. Hill turns into a coach on the sideline for him. And Carter with his first touch. We wind down inside 5.5 minutes. We've talked the BYU side. How about Texas? Next, they've got UCLA coming to Jerry's World. The game will be on Fox next week. So it certainly doesn't get easier. And then after a bye at Kansas and then into a tough part of the Big 12 schedule, Baylor and Oklahoma in back-to-back weeks.
Well, yeah, this is going to be a grind for the Texas football team. And you got a tough stretch all the way through mid-October. And when you have a new coach, when you have a new philosophy, when you're trying to instill a sense of a discipline and accountability, the coaching staff is really going to see who shuts it down after this game and who takes it as motivation and tries to get better.
False start. Offense. Players never got set prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
So you've seen what Taysom Hill can do tonight, what Texas has had to deal with. How about the guys that they're going to have to face moving forward? Brett Hundley coming to Texas next week. They'll have a bye and then face Kansas, and then they get Bryce Petty if he's healthy. And if he's not, they get Seth Russell, who went off tonight for Baylor.
Well, yeah, Brett Hundley's the type of guy like Taysom Hill. He's going to run it. He's going to throw it. Bryce Petty, I mean, just wide receivers like crazy at Baylor right now. Antoine Goodley, the All-American. Katie Cannon.
How about his night tonight?
Absolutely incredible. Katie Cannon, the freshman for Baylor, having an unbelievable game in just his 2nd game down in Waco.
As of halftime, Katie Cannon, Joey, had 6 catches for 223 yards and 3 touchdowns.
That's okay.
Not bad.
Not bad.
How about this punt? Sending Diggs back to the 10. Bounces inside the 5 and goes out inside the 1. That's a 64-yard punt for Scott Arlano.
Would you say that everything is bouncing BYU's way?
You could say that. Yep. Let's go to LA for a game break.
All right, thanks. Let's go to the Rose Bowl. After a Memphis touchdown, UCLA did not take long to strike back. First play of the drive, Brett Hundley, 62-yard touchdown to Kenneth Walker, and the Bruins back on top. They lead it 13-7 after the first. Back to you.
All right, so there's that guy. And again, it wasn't easy for him last week against Virginia. They got the job done thanks largely to 3 touchdowns from the defense. Now, Texas backed inside its own 1. We'll try and get some breathing room here. And barely get out of the end zone with Brown, who's marked down at the 1. What in your mind is realistic for this first season, these first couple of years for Charlie Strong? Because you know the expectations around here are going to be predicated on what this program is and has become over the years. What's realistic? What should folks expect?
Well, I think the injury to Dom Espinoza changes things. I think the injury to David Ash changes things. But things shouldn't change on the defensive side of the ball. Charlie Strong is a defensive coach. A strong defensive philosophy with talented players on this Texas roster. Frankly, I would expect more from Texas on the defensive side of the ball. I think you're probably going to struggle on offense a little bit, even though you have fantastic running backs, a young quarterback, a young offensive line. There's going to be some bumps, but you're going to need to rely on this defense to be the rock of your team.
We talked about the schedule. It's not easy. You're going to be looking at going into the UCLA game 1-1. Game they probably will not be favored in. At Kansas after the bye game that they should win. Then you get into that Big 12 schedule beyond Kansas with Baylor and Oklahoma. Iowa State played Kansas State tough today. They get them back-to-back weeks. Then they go at Texas Tech. Won't be easy. West Virginia at home. Won't be easy. At Oklahoma State. Never easy. They've got a bye, and then they finish up at home against TCU on Thanksgiving right here on Fox Sports 1.
Well, Baylor and Oklahoma, people have talked about as being the class of the Big 12 right now, but I think there are a lot of teams right after that surprised a lot of people. Oklahoma State, the way they played against Florida State. West Virginia, the way they played against Alabama. Kansas State sneaking into the top 25. This is going to be a pretty deep Big 12.
They're going to give him forward progress past the goal line to avoid the safety here. I'm just scanning down this remaining schedule for Texas and take a look here to make sure that he did escape the end zone. And he did, but boy, out of the remaining 10 games, Texas probably going to be favored 4 times.
It's not a position the Longhorns find themselves in very often, but it's the reality of the program right now. You know, Texas is in a down stretch, and they're relying on that man, Charlie Strong, to change the culture, to get them back to the top of the Big 12.
Swoops in the gun out of his own end zone. Hits Swain, the tight end, out to the 6, where it'll be 4th down. And again, no official word. The outlook for David Ash. Plenty of writers that like to voice their own opinion on what his future should be, but ultimately that'll be his decision with his doctors and his family.
Right.
And not something you ever want to rush back from. In the meantime, it's Tyrone Swoop's team. And I think you certainly saw some stuff tonight to be happy about.
Yeah,
from
you
Swoops.
did. Absolutely. He threw the ball very well on those intermediate and short routes. He made some good decisions. They're going to have to push the ball down the field with him earlier in the ball game, simply to open up holes and soften up defenses for that running game of Malcolm Brown and Jonathan Gray. But I think you saw enough from Tyrone Swoops to feel comfortable with him going forward.
It's a 52-yard punt. Blackman brings it back to the 41. What's going on at the Pi-Fi house right now, huh? I know that they're big. Big J and Dan fans, even a chest bump at the end of it. After UTEP, Texas Tech. Jay and Dan will have Fox Sports Live for you. Everybody's favorite formation, victory formation. Put a capper on this one for BYU with an impressive performance of 41-7 thrashing of Texas. It really came down to that third quarter where they scored on all 4 drives to open that quarter up after it was 6-0 at halftime. And they'll go to 4-1 all time against Texas. Only loss against the Longhorns was here in 2011 by 1 point.
Well, you take that third quarter out of here, which obviously you can't do, but you're, what, looking at a 13-7 ball game? I mean, that was just an offensive explosion by BYU and a set of unfortunate turnovers, a couple 3-and-outs. But you can't afford to do that with a guy like Taysom Hill running the opposing offense.
You've clamored for him to join the Heisman discussion. I don't think you're going to be the only one trying to throw his name in it. And this play right now is speaking for itself. Final knee from Christian Stewart. BYU moves to 2-0 with a statement win against Texas. Second consecutive season they roll the Big 12's Longhorns. And Charlie Strong suffers his first defeat as Texas's head coach after they took care of North Texas last week. Texas Tech and UTEP coming up in just a bit. But for now, we send you back to Los Angeles with Rob Stone.